Greetings all. Nav's got the recorder rolling stuff.
Yeah, I got Matt invited.
There we go. Right on. Thank you, Nav.
Thank you, sir.
Technical wizard. Good to see you, Matt.
You as well.
I sent Matt a picture of the smoke yesterday, Matt. It's significantly worse today, if you can imagine.
Tell that on the map.
I could tell that.
It is
I'm sorry.
today. We are choking on it. Ash on my vehicle.
It was looking pretty bad even on the island yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a new one sprung up at south of Boston Bar there, and then I guess there's a few in the states that are contributing to it as well. So we are breathing in smoke here in British Columbia. I know a lot of Ontario. I know a lot of the northeastern United States as well. Yeah, BC for me over here, Glenn. So yeah, it's I shared a picture with Matt yesterday of a good day, how far I can see in the hills and the mountains and the beautiful sunny clear day, and then what it was like yesterday. And if I shared a picture today, you can hardly see down to the bottom of the hill here. So it's pretty rough. All right, let us dive into it, guys. League City, exciting updates coming. So that 71 zones went up last Friday. Was done through the weekend, which was awesome. That is going to be recurring on a monthly basis, at least through Q3. So it'll come back mid-August. It'll come back mid-September, those 71 zones in South Central League City. On top of that, tomorrow, we've got 2 AOIs launching, 18 total missions that are going to refresh every day for a week. So 18 zones refreshing every day for a week over 2 project areas of interest that we saw a lot of change in our initial capture on. And so we're going to be collecting some daily change to see what different cadences do for our algorithms and also for our marketing sandbox and our demonstrations. On top of that, we have 1 weekly capture of 14 missions. It's starting tomorrow as well. So we'll be launching 32 missions in League City tomorrow. 2 sets on daily refresh cadence, 1 set on a weekly refresh cadence, and then starting next Friday, we've got another 70 or 80 missions that'll come up on weekly cadences. So we're going to have some daily launches, we're going to have some weekly launches, we're going to have some monthly launches all happening in League City and potentially some other cadences as well. That's going to continue through the 3rd quarter, July, August, September. James is asking about if the launch times are going to be accurate. We are shooting for 7 a.m. every day, 7 a.m. That gives the fullest flying day that we can give. It also allows us to be somewhat, we're Pacific time, so it allows us to be awake and aware if there are any issues. So that's the programmatic capture stuff. I'll get this in a degree of writing for you. Please be aware there's always the potential for some amount of change or shift. If we're capturing an area and the change stops happening, there's no value in us continuing to capture that area. But this is the current plan. Starting tomorrow, some daily captures and some weekly captures going forward. I know everyone wants to see it in writing. I know everyone wants a list. And as I just mentioned, the problem with lists is that they change. The problem with writing is the more places we put this stuff, then every change has to be edited and updated. And so there's a balance between expectations management, announcing into the future. Thankfully, some of this we are going to be able to announce into the future. We are announcing into the future, but we have to keep the reins on that to a degree because we know you guys make plans around this stuff. And so with the more we say, the more risk there is that what we've said changes, and then there's disappointment and expectations aren't met. So yes, 0700 Texas time. I'm usually up around 6 leopards. Maybe an hour behind, but we want to give those guys the most time, anyone in that area, the most time they can during the day to collect. There is the internet now. Yeah, things can move instantly once decisions have been made, but not everyone receives them. Not everyone hears about them. People make plans to move. The volume, the amount of missions, the cadence, sometimes it's shifting and changing in real time. And as I say, the more places that it is, you guys are getting the first crack at this on audio here now. It'll come out as best we can via a schedule, but like I say, schedules I have found, as you have, I'm sure, when we were in March and April there, and we were putting out lists and then taking down lists and then editing lists, and it was causing more confusion than it was solving for, was what I was experiencing. This is a good list. I like this list. That is programmatic capture. So that's right now what we're bringing in, what we're using for testing. The go live date for our sandbox free trial version data imagery, whatever you want to call it, access that you guys will be able to get access to like anybody else is still August 4th. So engineering working very hard, marketing working hard to have that all prepared, have these demonstrations prepared, have this data available for not only you to check out and have a little more insight into where this data goes and what it's used for, but also customers and clients, particularly in League City, but League City is really a sandbox area that customers anywhere can start to understand what it means to have a data layer of automatically refreshed aerial imagery via drone. So that is what I can give you on programmatic capture. Nav, do you want to run quickly through the campaign update that you posted yesterday?
Right. The campaign update which I posted for the announcements, right?
Yeah. Just a quick run through of what that is and why it's
Right.
not as exciting as it could be right now, but we hope
I
it'll
know.
be.
Like campaign discovery is live, as you all know, and now users can actually find campaigns within 300 kilometers of their GPS location, and they can see it in the app or the Explorer, find the details, look exactly how big the campaign is, how many missions, what the total value and per mission value, how many RPs, and all sorts of details regarding it. That is officially live, officially working for all pilots, all users now. And yeah, if you guys have updated your app or you look up through the Explorer, Spexy Explorer, you can look at campaigns by clicking on the drone icon and find the nearest campaign within 300-kilometer radius of your GPS location. So it's pretty helpful to quickly give you a rundown of what's near you, what has gone live. Now you necessarily don't have to really wait for a Discord announcement. You could look at the campaign discovery and find out what's near you. And we're also working on uh, push notifications for any campaigns near you. So if any campaign goes live, you directly get notified that, hey, this campaign went live near you, and then you could start planning and flying within that campaign.
Questions in
That
the chat have, can that threshold be increased, that distance?
Yes, we're working on it, and eventually, once it's a little more progressed, we will be able to change. Like the users will be able to change that radius from 300 to maybe nationwide, or there will be other options. But yes, that is in works at the moment. But yeah,
All right,
that's
so
pretty exciting. People have been asking for this feature for a long, long time. We've been asking for it, and it's finally now live, so it's great. Exciting feature.
yeah, think of this as a V0 essentially, or V1. The very basic functionality is that now instead of just having to sort of zoom out on the map and try to spot some yellow and see what's where, you can go into your flights tab in the app or the flights tab in the mobile explorer, and it'll list any campaigns that are close to you. Right now, that 300-kilometer radius is fixed; it's set, but the product team engineering knows that next step is to allow you to adjust that radius. Maybe you want to be able to travel, maybe you want to see the whole nation, and then to be able to different locations where you might want to be, or you might want to see campaigns close to. A V3 of that will be things like the campaign completion incentives built right into the application, etc. So as many of you are aware, sometimes when we have timelines or we need data collected in more remote areas, we'll add an incentive. That's all manual right now. It's cumbersome. We realize that it's not always the best user experience. So this is all on a pathway towards building towards. The first step is identifying what a campaign is in the UI so that you as pilots and new pilots and anyone that opens the app understands the concept of this is a group of missions that are associated with each other. And then step two is allowing you to dynamically find campaigns where you want to find them. And step three is giving the capability to the team here to be able to not only price the missions as we can do now, but also add incentives for speed and completeness, etc. So these are all pieces of the puzzle that need to be built on top of that. So I think that hopefully aptly describes what's coming down the pipeline. A huge amount of the team and engineering resources continues to be focused on the sort of the demand, the customer side of what we're building, bringing users in the door. A lot of these small, thank you to Implicit Donkey, who picked up some zones in Hidden Hills, picked up some zones in Telluride. Those are kind of feeding customer requests that then turn on these larger contracts and larger requests. So we're really excited. We think that this is just starting to roll. Believe me, Nav and I are the two most impatient people here. We want to get more missions on the board for you guys. We want to make activity increase. We only have the levers that we have right now. So thank you all for the work that you do. Thank you for your patience in the meantime while the network feels a little soft maybe, and for getting the missions that do jump on the board. But we're seeing some really, really good signs. And it's growing into the thing that we all envision it to be. And I know that if you're here, it's because you see that vision of building an aerial imagery layer, a data layer that sits below satellite, that sits below air photo, that is drones, because we all see and believe that drones are really the next, sort of the next frontier of this aerial imagery industry. So Nav, demand missions in the pipeline. What do you want to hit us with? And I did update the Notion doc if you're in there. Otherwise, you might have to pull it out of your big brain.
Okay, let me pull that out right now. But yeah, we do have some California missions, I believe, Graham, but something in SF coming up hopefully soon.
I think some of those go live today. Yes, here today. Did those go live? A few in SF, and there's a few more trailing behind that.
Yeah, a few more, right? A few more. And then we also have some going live in Chilliwack fairly soon.
So PC scheduled for tomorrow, yes?
Yes, scheduled for tomorrow morning. And we also have some missions going
how
live
many
in Prince Rupert.
22-ish in Chilliwack?
I think
about
less
20,
than that.
over 20 missions in Chilliwack. Rupert is...
Prince Rupert as well.
Thank you to Omega for picking up the Rupert stuff. Really cool little project he's doing there. Thank you to Happy for picking up Brandon today. Back in Brandon, the floodwaters have receded, so we're picking up some post floodwater stuff. We have one more capture there in Brandon. That data, actually, that's one we can share now. I'm going to go grab that link if you give me a second. Can you kill time for me for a second?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, let me get the link. I have the wallpaper open right now.
Oh, but we need the ArcGIS link.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This one, then everybody can. So I've just dropped in the chat. That work we did in Brandon was in conjunction with Esri. So this was the flooding for anyone that wasn't aware. There was river came way up. There was some fairly large scale flooding. Didn't luckily look like it did too much damage to the actual city itself. But in conjunction with Esri, we got that data collected. Thank you to those of you who went out and picked up some of that data. Joe, I know, went all the way over from Calgary. That was made live to all emergency responders, to all local authorities for free. It was just sponsored and put out to try to help with both the mitigation efforts. And if you check out some of that imagery, they did a lot of work, man. They built up some dikes real quick, and they were doing a lot of prep work prior to the high water, and then some remediation work. So pretty cool project. Thanks to those involved. You can take a look there. Like I say, we surfaced all of that data to local responders so that they could use it to action, and so that parties outside could understand the breadth of and impact of the emergency. So pretty neat that way. There's one or two other demand. Brandon, Chilliwack, Sensor, Calgary. Calgary has some demand in the pipeline shortly here. I know I've chatted briefly about some North Seattle and some out in Florida. I'm still pushing on those. Sales is pending some closure to that contract and that negotiation. So that stuff is not dead, but it's not there yet. And again, one of these things where if I share, the more I share, the more we get the when's this, what's that? And it is possible for those contracts, those negotiations to not make it all the way through the pipeline or to die off. So we're doing everything that we can. Obviously, our sales team is pushing to make this happen, and it's an interesting and exciting time. The conversations that we're having. I can say that the work Implicit Donkey did directly led to the closing of a contract and convincing those clients that this network would be able to deliver, that you guys as pilots would be able to deliver data, and the more that happens, the more we'll see missions hit the board. So super cool to see that taking shape. Those are the demand and supply. Supply programmatic, now dubbed programmatic capture. League City, you're going to start seeing a ton of activity there. You're going to start seeing lots of different recurring cadences on different areas, and our R&D team is taking that change. We've been tasked as operations to identify that change through a variety of different signals, to deploy those missions over that change so that Spexy offers the most detailed and most recent, the freshest imagery of all change happening in that League City area, because that's our demonstration, that's our sandbox to clients for what this could look like at a state scale, at a country scale, at a global scale, if everything really starts to hum the way that we picture it happening. Total daily value for League City, Duncan, for the week it's not huge. It's under $500 a day, but it's daily. That's every day for a week. The weekly capture will be higher. It'll be, I hate giving numbers out, but it'll be 2 to 3 times that on the weekly cadence, and then the monthly cadence will be layered in on that. So there's there's deployment happening in League City. By end of Q3, we'll be looking to identify another demo area, another sandbox area. There's still talk about whether that's an expansion on the existing League City space or the existing Greater Houston area, or whether that's a totally different geography. Those decisions don't all get made by me. Those decisions haven't all been made yet. But that's how we envision this thing starting to roll and grow. Matt, anything you want to add on to that about why we're doing what we're doing or how it works and looks?
No, I thought you did a great job of tying that to the overall picture, where this imagery is going, what we're trying to do within the market, how that's linked to the flywheel for the whole network. So League City is something we are putting a lot of attention and resources in, and we're really excited to see where it goes in the full life cycle of capture to sale to request for more capture.
Thank you. Yeah, pat me on the back. Matt always comes in and pats me on the back. He makes me feel so good. He says, "You did a great job."
And you did. Yeah, it's great.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, so that's the breakdown for this week. It's not huge. Tech update. We're in V 2.8.0. When you get a chance to fly, please come in and provide feedback. Provide bugs. Engineering is continuing to try to knock down some of this stuff internally, externally. Your open mission requests still live for anyone that wants them. Actually, I saw quite a few of those go out this week. Nav, can you have the total?
Yeah. I think we got like almost 800 missions going live. Tomorrow morning.
I caught that somewhere. Oh, that's more than normal. So if you're looking to build up RP, so you can reserve when missions come up close to your geography where you live, that's a great way to do it. If you're just looking to test out the network because you haven't flown much, another great way to do it. Nab, maybe if you want to share the link to that again, just so everybody has it handy.
Sure.
You may request missions, and those go up on the board. They were, thank you for, I can't remember who reported, but they reported that they were closing after 2 weeks. That was just an internal comms error, so those are now live, I believe, for 3 months. They're going to be live for a quarter. So it's not that they never close, and that's just to keep the board a little bit, the board, the production environment and the map that you look at to keep it not getting too stale. So they do close out after a time, but we understand that there's no real rush for you to fly those, and 2 weeks was a pretty tight window. So thank you for flagging that. That is what I have at the moment. I don't have any other pending areas. I see asking about GTA area, Eastern Canada. The reason we see so many missions coming up in SF, coming up in Calgary, coming up in these specific places is because we have champions in those places. We have either customers or clients within the municipality or within an organization that covers that area that have discovered the value of this network we've created and that are leveraging it, which is awesome. It's really cool. So what we're trying to do is build more and more of those champions. August 4th is going to be a big date for us to hit because, in my opinion, and I'm sure in many of your opinions, getting the data out so that you guys can see it, so that you guys can be champions across North America, so you can share it with friends, so that people can easily access it, has been, I've been a big proponent of that. I know Matt's been a big proponent of that internally, and for a variety of legal and technical reasons, that hasn't happened to date. And we're really excited for August 4th because that's when there's going to be, again, the first iteration of that. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to have everything, but it's going to be the ability to essentially create a free trial account, at least, right? So you guys can go in and create a free trial account, type in an address, receive imagery from that address. It will be limited to League City to begin with. You'll get the newest imagery. It talks about how to display historical imagery, so you can really start to understand and see and share the value of that with colleagues and friends and people that you work with. And that, I think is going to be a real key to getting the motor rolling and the flywheel rolling on this whole thing. All right, Nav, thank you for throwing that out there. I want to, I hope it's okay. I'm going to flag Chad's Rhino drones because Chad and I were having a chat the other day, and Chad is an example of someone who started in the drone industry a couple years ago and has really built up and now has an awesome little business going in Salt Lake. So Chad, I want to give some kudos to you. Another person who's not online today, I don't think, but is Brian from DroneWorks, and similar story. And I'll tell you guys, there's nothing I like to see more than you advancing, than Spexy going from maybe being one of the early ways, the ways you start making money with the drone, to growing into bigger and more and cooler ways to make money with drones. And if anybody has that story and wants to share it, if anybody has tips or tricks, please continue to share them in the chat. I'm sure others would find very valuable the way that you get to that next step, right? It's not always obvious, and it's not always easy how you can build a career or build a business or build a solid income in the drone industry. And we know that Spexy's, one way that lots of people do it. It's one way to earn a little bit of extra income. But I think it's just a great launching off point for drone enthusiasts and drone professionals to understand that there's, value in aerial imagery, value in drone imagery. So the more that people share that, the greater this network and the community becomes, and the more reason people have to come here. Now, that was my parting thought, but we've still got a couple of minutes, so we're happy to take questions, happy to have a chat. What is champions? Who's on the list so far? Yeah, Uzi, what I mean by a champion is someone in an organization that starts to understand and leverage the value of what the Spexy network provides. It's comparatively low cost, high resolution, and fast turnaround and or recent imagery, right? So historically, the users of aerial imagery data would purchase or request data from either a satellite at the highest, level, highest in the air, lowest resolution, but fairly quick cadence, or they would, a city or a municipality might get air photo, or there were some aggregators of aerial photography or aerial imagery, and they might aggregate both satellite and airborne photography. Nobody prior to, and so far nobody other than Spexy, has developed a network where the imagery is standardized in such a way that it can be piped into existing businesses, it can be purchased through APIs, it can be tasked uniformly across an entire city or geography or at a large scale, or as importantly across multiple geographies, and that the data you get is going to look the same. And for a lot of people, the question is always, when I approach new pilots, when I try to bring new pilots in a network, why are you only flying with micro drones? Why can't I use my Inspire? Why can't I use my Mavic 3? And part of the reason for that is that this is a standardized imagery layer, and so everybody's got to be submitting data to the same specs so that we can sell data at the same specs. And it's unique in the industry, in the space. And it's when a champion, when someone at an organization realizes what that unlocks for them in terms of like the city of Calgary, now placing orders almost every week, right? Hey, we want to see this area over here. Hey, we want to see this area over here. Hey, we need updated imagery of our project over there. Hey, we have to verify something over here. They can submit those orders, and that the network starts to roll, and that's how we envision this at scale. So if you're looking for champions, it's people at, engineering and construction organizations, it's people in municipal operations, it's people in insurance, it's people in mapping and utilities. All of these organizations use aerial imagery. It's people in commercial and industrial real estate, very commonly. They're using the aerial imagery to gain insights about different things, and we just provide a new and ideally better way for them to get that information. Showak, is only 10? Okay. Screenshot, why crypto and bought USD. Not sure I understand the question. Why USDC? Matt, can I throw that one over the fence to you since I've been talking for a while? Can you explain to people why we chose to go the USDC route?
Yeah, absolutely. There weren't a lot of extremely official trusted stablecoins on Ethereum back when we went on this journey. In this period of crypto, blockchain, and just the broader financial system, where there are a lot more stablecoins that are being launched, and in some ways more being announced kind of every day. I think we do have a process internally for evaluating new stablecoins. At the moment, and at the time the decision was made, USDC was far and away the most obvious choice in terms of liquidity in the market, in terms of regulatory compliance and likelihood to survive the Clarity Act and still be around when, in the most number of jurisdictions, when the stablecoin space gets a little bit more regulated, extremely integrated to Base, which is where we are, the platform, and available widely on U.S. and Canadian exchanges. So those were the criteria we used to select USDC. As the stablecoin space evolves, we're definitely open to kind of revisiting that. It makes a lot of sense.
I think the question is why crypto and not just USD? Like a full step back, like why are we even doing crypto at all? Why pay with crypto?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Different. I answered very much a different question.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. What's the simple answer? From the standpoint of a business, moving money in the traditional financial rails is actually quite challenging. I think a lot of pilots lived through the era of Stripe and Stripe integration, and everything has to link to an official bank account. It's hard to administer from the standpoint of a business that's trying to appeal to a network of 1,000 to 10,000, maybe even in the future 100,000 contributors, all of whom are pretty professional. And using the traditional financial rails was actually very cumbersome, led to delays in payment, kind of et cetera, et cetera. What stablecoin unlocked for us and for the pilot network broadly is extremely fast, simple payments for all of the missions. The kind of flow that we get when putting all of this through a set of smart contracts is the moment data gets submitted and verified, all the proof of each of those actions can be issued on chain, and that triggers the movement of money automatically. It doesn't have to go through a series of approvals, kind of off chain, transferred and brokered by Stripe and transferred through traditional system to a bank. You have the freedom to do that if you want. You can keep stablecoin in on chain. You can transfer to an exchange. It's just a lot more. We think there's a lot more utility for the pilots. It's easier to administer from the standpoint of a business. It scales a lot better. So it was the big reason we use this as a financial rail system rather than trying to scale this across North America and across the world using a traditional financial system that doesn't handle this kind of work very well.
Yeah, I'll lean on that last point. I discussed being statewide and then nationwide and North America wide, but the real vision of what we're trying to build is global. And I think leaning on that last point, we foresee, we already saw, you guys remember being paid every 2 weeks and payment delays and payment issues because this wasn't connected or because Stripe broke down as an intermediary. What happens now with using that smart contract, that blockchain, is we pre-fund the mission and the contract. The USDC is there. When you see a mission that's yellow on the board, there's money there waiting to be collected. And when you complete a flight, an NFT, a soulbound NFT, is actually created. That syncing that happens at the end is actually creating an NFT in your wallet on the blockchain as a pilot associated with your account. And when you upload the imagery data, it matches those two things, and it unlocks the safe, essentially the vault, to give you the money. And so that's totally programmatic. It's totally hands off. There's no, there's nothing that we have to do. From an accounting and I mean, there are things we have to do from an accounting perspective, but in terms of releasing funds, in terms of verifying and validating funds, that all happens programmatically, which when you think about trying to, launch into new countries, launch into other parts of the world, becomes quite obviously a much more scalable route. So that's part of the big decision. And that took us to 3:00. So there was a little bit of info. I hope some of you already knew a lot of that, but I'm sure for a few of you, it's like, oh, I understand why that makes more sense now. And in these early days, different things can be a little cumbersome. Yeah, people had to set up Coinbase accounts. Some people had to learn all about that because it was totally new for you. And we appreciate you taking that time, coming on that journey. And I see some comments about USD would be better. There's some back and forth. People like different things. But I think there is something nice about, you upload that data and you have access to those funds, right, seconds later. I think that's pretty high value. All right, let's call it there. Thank you, Matt, for stepping in and providing some context on that.
Yes, great. Sorry, I answered the wrong question at first, but maybe
I asked the wrong question at first. It took me a second to decode there was a typo in there. Okay, thanks all. We're at 3:01. Yeah, Nav, thanks for jumping in with the tech updates. I threw a couple things at you there. I get tired of talking for minutes and minutes on end, so thank you both for standing in and filling some airtime.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining.
Have a good afternoon all.